Hey there. Well, I was unloading the van. It's a nice day out. Why not do an outdoor video? Kutztown, spring 2019. Yeah, it just finished up, and I bought a lot of stuff, but very little of it was for my collection. This is one of the pieces. This is the major piece. I also bought a tube, maybe two tubes. But yeah, most of what I bought was, well, parts and things like that to put into my store. But this, what is it? It's a transistor checker. It is one hell of a transistor checker. Let's take a look at it. The Birtcher Corp. Industrial Division, Monterey Park, California. It's a Model 70 Semiconductor Test Set. So yeah, I guess it does diodes too. But you can see it's on a racks-like, cart-like thing. I say cart because there were some nice big casters on it, but I took the casters off because they come off on their own. They're nice and big. They're probably great for a factory floor, but yeah, just go over one little rock and you lose a caster. You go over the second rock and you lose the next caster. So I just took the casters off. I'll plug them back in when it's in the building. But yeah, it holds some things that look like plug-in modules, and there is indeed a plug-in module in the main unit. Now, interestingly, you can see the property tag, Sylvania Electric. I think this probably was used at the Sylvania transistor plant, part of their quality control line. The interesting thing is, this does all sorts of tests way beyond sort of the normal tests. So this is what you would use in a manufacturing situation to see how you're tweaking transistors and what's happening in very specific types of tests and conditions. Like this module here, Pulsed Beta Test Module Type 10A. So yes, it's a very strange test. Normally, you really don't need to do. You could just do the normal beta, HFE, all that kind of stuff. But no, that does a special pulsed version of the test. We have other module, Pulsed Breakdown Voltage Test. We've got Test Module Type 10CD, which let's see, it looks like it does breakdown. There's a few other things. Hybrid Parameter Test Module Type 10AC-1. All these are Type 10, 10 somethings. Pulse Saturation Test Module Type 10B. Test Module Type 10E. And you can see switches for PNP, NPN, diode and SCR conduction. And Zener diode test module. So assuming that does, well, Zener breakdown. Now you may look at these modules and say, hey, there's something familiar about them. Well, yeah. Let's take one out. Put it on the ground here. Get my mic cord out of the way. Gee, this looks like it was made by Tektronix. Let's turn it over. Gee, this looks like it was made by Tektronix. Yes, it appears that Birtcher here probably just contracted with Tech to make the modules. I mean, this thing here, rather the main unit, there's not much to it. There's a bit of a power supply in there. A couple of knobs that just say adjust, and a couple of meters. There's not much else there. A couple of switches to start your test off and such like that. And this thing that allows you to plug in little modules to hold your part under test, your device under test. But yeah, this is just screaming Tech. Even that's kind of your standard Tech stamp there. Now what's interesting is it's got tubes in it and transistors. You think, well, what's going on there? Well, keep in mind, this looks to be from probably the early 60s, maybe. Unfortunately, it's a little moused up. I see a 65 date code there. And it makes sense. This kind of looks like construction from that era. See if we can find any other date codes here. But yeah, the transistors are, kind of early, mid-60s transistors. Well, keep in mind, this was still kind of early days for transistors. So tubes were they were much more mature technology. So, when you're doing a test of something like a semiconductor, you kind of need a technology that's maybe a little more stable than what you're trying to test, a little better performance and such like that. Well, that might explain why there are tubes in a transistor checker. So let's get this over here and look at some rocks here. And this is fun. There's another module. Ooh, there's my mic cord again. So, get out of there. So it looks like, another thing that was kind of looking very tech. And see, we have a chopper, more tubes, more tech-like construction. Which module is this? Test module type 10 CD. And apparently you can take these things out. So even the modules have modules. And that's because there's a drawer full of these little plug-in modules. Hey, this is apparently the leakage module. And you can see something else had a bit of leakage in here. Yeah, it's kind of yucky. Ew. Diode SCR breakdown leakage module. We've got looks like some sort of bridge thing. This is kind of cool. You can turn that and it changes the changes the socket there. So so you can switch it to the configuration you need, I guess, without having a whole bunch of modules. And that's a pretty standard module. And that one looks a little homebrew. But there we go. There's the beast. And there's something else. Can we tell what that is? No, we can't tell what that is. But yeah, it's unfortunate. This has been yuckified by an evil little critter or two. Ew, yuck. So here are some of the modules. Some specs. And all the goodies and stuff like that. And I do like how all the modules are type 10 with some sort of suffix. Here's another one. Board says it's pulse generator. It's quite similar to the that one there too. Yeah, pretty neat stuff. What's this module do? Pulsed saturation test module, type 10B. I guess you set your saturation voltage, collector current range, base current range, polarity, function of the test. But yeah, everything has a Sylvania electric property stamp. So I imagine this sat. Maybe Sylvania had a bunch of these. And oh, that one's heavy. That one's got iron to it. Probably sat somewhere in the QA department, or QC as it was called back then. And they'd pull random transistors off the line and run them through a battery of tests. I wouldn't be surprised if there was one of those tech curve tracing scopes that went along with this as part of their test suite. Can you imagine, this and then the tech scope about right here. So you could actually get the curves. And yeah, just as in any sort of quality control thing, you put your device under test. You have a number of them, say. Put the device under test and run it through a battery of tests here. You know, maybe you wouldn't need every module for testing one transistor. You pick what you need and report the results, and that way the guys that are fixing up the doping and all that for the semiconductors will know if they're doing a good job. But yeah, unfortunately, you can see, yeah, it's been, oh, this one's stuck. Okay, okay, that one's going to need some help. There's probably something kind of sticking up. But yeah, what's this one here? Pulsed. Ooh. Wow, compactrons. That's interesting. 22. What an odd tube. TV type tube. I mean, it's a good tube, but what an odd tube. Look there. This has got some power. It's got its own little fan. 22 JG6. Interesting. This was what was this module here? Pulsed breakdown. You know, once again, something you don't really normally ever really have to do, but unless you're making sure all your transistors are coming out A-okay. Ooh, you can see someone like to nibble on that a bit. Once again, transistors in this one as well. So yeah, pretty cool. I do have manuals for some of them. Some of the manuals are completely disgusting, although this one's not too bad. Let's take a look at the manual here. So, theory of operation. It's just troubleshooting. Oh, okay, so does this have like complete schematics and everything? All right, look at that. We even got schematics. So, yeah, pretty cool. Now, of course, this probably doesn't stack up that well next to a modern semiconductor testing head here, but hey, for 19, gosh, this one is heavy. It's got iron in it. For 19, I don't know, let's just say 64. Yeah, we don't need leaves in there. Let's get this guy up here. Hard to do while holding the camera. So yeah, it probably was one hell of an instrument. I don't know how long it was in service. I doubt there are any of these in service anymore. What am I going to do with it? I don't know. Eventually, in my copious free time, screw around with it. But as you can see, it needs just a bunch of cleanup, and you know, probably needs a lot of electrical restoration because there was a little fuzz I saw. A little fuzz on some of the circuits there. But yeah, pretty neat thing. I kind of wish I had some test data though, because hey, maybe if I'm testing a 2N3055, well, obviously I can get all the specs from the data book, but you know, how does that translate to this meter? Both of these meters are, you know, they've got ranges, but they don't actually have units. So maybe that's something you have to figure out on your own, or maybe you just use the units that are on the modules. I don't know. But yeah, neat thing. So yeah, kind of a fun thing that is, well, probably pretty useless right now. But hey, we like useless technology, don't we? All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this quick look at this Birtcher Model 70 semiconductor test set with lots of neat modules. Yes, I can start testing all my transistors all day long for really obscure conditions and stuff like that. All right, well, I got to get this thing indoors because I believe it's supposed to rain tomorrow, even though it's just it's a wonderful day today. So yep, I'm gonna have to take it apart. The top thing just kind of sits on top of the not rolling around rack. But yeah, I'll just lug it all in. It's actually not that heavy. These, other than that one module, They had the big transformer in it. The modules don't weigh much. It's kind of typical of what you expect out of a tech module. Pretty lightweight. So, yep, I'm going to get this thing into the building and, well, if I find a spot for it. And one of these days, I will do something with it. All right, then. Hope you liked the video. Leave a like, maybe share this around. If you have any experience with one of these test sets, leave a comment. All right, yes, I do have a Twitter. It's under Uniservo, and some of you probably saw the preview picture of this. Yeah, why not follow me and maybe subscribe to my channel here. I'm getting back into the swing of making videos, and it feels good.